Hey, ladies and gents, how are you today? This is Aluminum Tarot. I'm working on a few things. I'm working on, I guess, the delivery of these readings, testing out a few new things, experimenting with that same temporal or temperance energy to try to see, how to make improvements to the channel. One of the things I want to do is to speak as succinctly as possible, so that way people can, I'm not speaking too quickly because I do have a tendency to blather on if I do that. Anyways, it's a pleasure to have you here. We're going to read for the sign of Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Rising. We will also read for May 2024 general reading. If you like what you see here, please be sure to like, share, subscribe, ding the notification bell so that you don't miss any of the updates for this channel. And if you would like a personal reading, please be sure to reach out by contacting me at the details included in the description box below. I have sorted that issue out. I did realize that I had a typo in the email address provided in the previous ones, and this may have prevented some of these people from actually reaching out, or it could create some potential problems. So I have gone through, sorted out all of the more recent description box informations since rebooting this channel. And again, as always, thanks for your time and patience in that whole process, because there were quite a few challenging circumstances that popped up in my life. I had to sort those out before I could get back to this channel and be a bit more settled and stable. That said, yeah, we've been going through quite a few transits. Lots of things took place in April, which gave people plenty of headaches to deal with. There were several eclipses, there was a Mercury retrograde, and now we're entering into a period of, a positive aspect between Jupiter and Uranus. And additionally, we have Uranus in Taurus, plodding along. And furthermore, we had the new moon in Taurus, and now we're moving Venus into Taurus as well. So a lot of this is showing a bit more changes and positive developments taking place with, in the career sector, potentially finances, as well as your love life. So hopefully we'll see some positive developments from that soon. And this should affect all signs, but specifically the Taurians, who have also celebrated their solar return. Shout out to the Moo crew. So it's a pleasure. I went on a nice, happy, healthy motorbike trip, which allowed me to kind of recalibrate, spend time with a friend, and to see some beautiful places up here in the Northeast. I went to Northumberland to enjoy the time in Newcastle and in Durham. So these were two phenomenal places in the UK that I would absolutely go visit again. So that said, we're going to go ahead. I could banter on all day about motorbikes because I took another trip yesterday to kind of visit some new places like Bolton Castle. But alas, we have work to do. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started with you, Pisces. And let me reel my brain back in by pulling down the kite string so that way I can get back to terra firma. Okay, enough said. Let's get started, Pisces. What's going on with Pisces for the month of May 2024? What's going on for Pisces for the month of May 2024? What's going on for Pisces for the month of May 2024? Just going to get 4 shuffles. This is the last one. All right, Pisceans, what's taking place here? Shuffle time. How you see yourself. All right. What's the challenge? Okay. Recent past. Recent past. Okay. Seven of Swords, near future. Oof. Near future. All right. All right. What's at the core of Piscean's existence? Oh. And what's at the crown? It's already known. Lots of air energy here, lots of air, and yeah, we'll get into that soon. What's the outcome? What's the outcome? Oh no. Clarify that. Oh no. Alright, Pisces, let's do this. Advice. Alright, and signifier. I'm going to start using that a bit more, so that way we can get an overall feel for the energies permeating this reading. Two of Pentacles. Bottom of the deck we have the King of Wands. This is the Captain of Engines in this deck. You can see he's very confident, a bit brash and cocky, but he goes after what he wants and he gets it. And of course, with a bunch of robots around, you know, like these, who wouldn't be able to get what they want. You could literally rule the world if you wanted to. And it has the number 14 here as indicated as, I guess it's the, I never noticed that before, why he's got that there. But he's the only, it's pretty interesting. I look at this King of Wands. He's the only black person in this entire deck. And he's also sat here with like, it's either tea or Hennessy, I don't know what it is, but kind of looks like a young Dave Chappelle. I don't know why, this is popping into my head. But it seems to me like, you know, despite that, you know, it's about being your true authentic self. And like Dave Chappelle, maybe, it kind of reminds me of someone who is fearless in many ways, but additionally well prepared. So it's like that cockiness and that arrogance is actually backed up by the fact that he's got an entire entourage of robots that can destroy the world. But additionally, it's like you have the resources that you need in order to carry out what it is that you seek. And so that's the magic behind the King of Wands, the Captain of Engines in this particular deck. So that's maybe a lesson that you want to take into account in the future. But we're going to go ahead and get into the reading itself. So the first thing that we see about this is that we have the Hermit and the Nine of Pentacles. No, we have Brazenhead, which is Justice. This is card number 11. Balance between two individuals, 1 and 1 equals 2. But with the Brazenhead, what it allows for them to do is it brings balance to things. It's objective, and it actually allows for karma to take place based on the actions that you've put out there, which are now coming back to you and manifesting in your life. So justice is normally a card about you get what you receive. Everything will be made fair in due course. And with the Nine of Pentacles, maybe this relates to your financial independence. And so what you're trying to do is balance out your financial dealings with the outside world. And you're wondering about the give and take that has, provided you with that material independence. So it could be that, maybe at this particular point in time, you are trying to give yourself a chance to explore, to be independent, but additionally, to be fair in your dealings with everyone else. Also, it could be a chance for you to kind of get a bit of more homeostasis with your material world to allow you to become that independent self. Because what I see here is in your challenge, you have the 8 of Cups. And that 8 of Cups in the reverse indicates not being able to walk away from something. So I'm going to ask what it is that the challenge relates to. Why the 8 of Cups in reverse? Why the 8 of Cups in reverse? There's the Ace of Swords. Now, normally, justice holds that Ace of Swords in order to get clarity on a particular matter, whether that's a court case, an issue involving your life, and that is the Libran card. This is also a Libra card, as well as Gemini Aquarius. However, with this, it indicates that either A, you have not received the clarity that you need, or B, it can indicate a lack of speaking or even outright deception or lying and deceit. So, Pisces. It's almost like, okay, this is a story that's popped into my head. It's almost like you've gone through some kind of painful separation. It's kind of like on the tail end of it, and it gives me the impression that you have separated either through a divorce or a contract that you were dealing with formally in the past. So it could be work-related, or it could be related to a relationship. But after severing from that contract, you have become financially independent from it. However, you can't walk away from the fact that whatever happened in the past, you haven't gotten clear on it, or perhaps even more so, you have had difficulty moving forward with the lessons that that relationship taught you. In the past, there was a betrayal. There was a sense of deception caused by the 7 of Swords. And with that 7 of Swords, it's normally someone who has lied, cheated, and stolen from you. Or it could be a form of self-sabotage in which you did something that prevented your forward movement and progress that would have allowed you to experience less discomfort. But because it's almost kind of like a mini devil energy, I look at the 7 Swords as such, because it's self-imposed restrictions that in turn relate or bring about the pain and separation. So yeah, the 7 of Swords in order to avoid a conflict. So what I'm seeing here is that in the typical Piscean fashion, I'm not trying to do too much of a I'm not trying to say too much about like, oh, well, it's your fault or anything like that, but we do have to recognize where we may have gone wrong. And in this, what it's indicating to me is that you wanted to avoid conflict with someone. So that way you kind of, you ran away from the real problem. So it's the 7 of Swords was that self-sabotage of trying to avoid or escape the arguments or the chaos that was ensuing with this particular dynamic you had shared with someone else. So that's what that's showing right there. But in doing so, it was a kind of self-deception. Maybe that's the reason why we got this Ace of Swords in the reverse. Because instead of taking that sword and picking it up to cut out the things that you needed to cut out, or to gain the clarity and illumination that you needed, what you did instead is you planted that sword in the ground in order to make peace. And that's normally a peacetime observation for people who are battling. But in this case, you needed to take that sword and use it when the opportunity was there. And unfortunately, that sword was not grasped. And what this has led to in the future is the 9 of Wands in the reverse and the King of Cups in the reverse. I got a similar reading. I think it was for Scorpio or Cancer. Yeah, it was for one of the other signs. I think it was Scorpio. And it was about avoiding that a reconciliation in the past was causing more harm than good. And in this, what I see here, moving into the future, you have the Nine of Engines reverse, which is basically, it's a kind of giving up. And then the King of Cups in the reverse. It indicates that you've just clocked out, you've checked out. And in doing so, you've kind of released yourself from the burden. You know, it maybe in the past it was easier for you to kind of swim around the issue. You are the fish. But as you were swimming in one direction, you found the rest of you was swimming in the other direction. And you felt at odds with the path that you had chosen as the Pisces. And I see almost that in this Eight of Cups here. You know, you have this ship swimming away rapidly from this exploding thing in the past, and deeply trying to escape it. And it's almost like in this case, you were trying to escape something by running away from it, but now it's caught up with you to the point where you have to check out fully, like in mind, body, and spirit. What was it that you had to escape from? What was it that you're checking out of? What was it that you were checking out of? Okay, so you were checking out again from a situation that was no longer growing. And for you, it was something that you thought was difficult to sustain. And as you tried to sustain it, it began to fall apart before your very eyes. This can also be a card that shows like something failing, like a business, a relationship that is coming apart, or perhaps even infertility, in which a person is unable to produce a child, and that creates stress between two people in a relationship. Anyway, that said, that can be quite challenging because it, you know, if say for example there's a woman involved in this, or you are the female Pisces in this reading, and you find that it's difficult for you to produce a child, that affects you at the core dynamic of who you are. If you are unable to grow a business and it fails, and then everyone sees that, it can be heartbreaking as you restructure or refinance that business, because all the people that depended on you and relied on you to make this dream happen are no longer able to come to, you know, they're unable to make it to the next part of their journey. But however, we do have at the bottom of the deck, we do have the Comet, which is the star card. And it's a card of hope. What this person is doing right now, they are farming a comet. They're trying to capture some of the things from that comet and take it back with them. So it's like asteroid mining almost. But even more so, it's almost like you touching and trying to reach out to your dreams, your hopes and aspirations, which is what the star represents. It is the guiding star that allows you to escape the clutches of the tower. It's the healing that comes after the tower. And in doing so, you're able to regain your footing. So like Temperance, in the Rider-Waite, the star card has 1 foot in the water and 1 foot in terra firma. The same way that Temperance has 1 foot in earth and 1 foot in water as well. In turn, what this does is this allows for you to regain your footing both in your emotional and your material circumstances. And so maybe after this disappointment takes place in the near future, what you will do is you'll realize that maybe the self-deception that you were involving yourself in created more harm than good. And what it's going to do now, next, you will have a period to heal after this takes place. And maybe in healing, you're actually able to look at the circumstances that created this problem and then heal that aspect of yourself by integrating that shadow work in there. And in turn, allowing you to become more authentic when you approach problems in the future. So for example, we always talk about Carl Jung. I love this psychologist. because he talks about he talks about various archetypes, but additionally he talks about integrating the shadow self into who you are to date in order to create what they call an individuated entity or being. So it's, for me, very close to the Hegelian dialectic formula, which is thesis, antithesis, and synthesis, which is who you are now, the shadow self, integrating that into, become a more evolved sense of individual self. And so I think that this is something that many people are afraid to go into, because the shadow means that you have to face your devil side. And these are all the things that the devil actually points out to show you where you are restricting yourself, where you are creating obstacles, toxicity, things that you hold on to, negative thought patterns, things of that nature, which have to be reconciled and healed. And we can only reconcile those things by looking at them square on, forgiving ourselves, and then moving forward with the lessons that we have attained by applying them in the material world, giving us the chance to move forward. Because after the devil comes the tower. That is the destruction of the old and bringing in the new. And this is precisely what we need to do as ourselves. That individuation process is the tower card. Moving forward into this, what we see is that we have the Six of Swords here as your core self. You are moving away from a difficult period in your life in which you have, experienced the Five of Swords, which is that conflict, that self-sabotage, winning at all costs. Unbeknownst to you, it's actually causing more suffering than good. There are cases where it's needed, like if you're in a competition, you want to win at all costs. But oftentimes with the Five of Swords, it means that you are doing it in an unethical manner. The same way with the Five of Wands. It's actually worse than the Five of Wands, I would say. The Five of Wands, it's direct energy competing with each other with sticks. And I remember that Menopon, I think Chris Reck, he mentions that they're just fighting with sticks, so it's more like practice. When you're picking up swords, it's a completely different thing. There's blood, there's, people get killed. They lose limbs, it's a bloodbath. So that's the way I would approach it that way. So with the Six of Swords coming on, you're moving away from a difficult period. And that's what you're feeling at the core. And it could be moving away from your old self into your new self. It could be moving away from a difficult circumstance into a more positive environment. It could even mean long distance travel in which you're moving overseas. So that way you can gain clarity on something that is important to you. However, what we see as what you're consciously aware of in the crown, the ego self, you have the Page of Swords, and maybe you're actually looking at that lesson. The Page of Swords is a student. It's someone that's actually learning the lessons that they have applied from life. And they are taking that sword up to begin applying those lessons to everyday life, moving into the Knight of Swords energy. Now, let's see, what is it that the Page of Swords is trying to learn? What is it that the Page of Swords is trying to learn? Let's do things. I got this card for someone else not too long ago. I think it was also Scorpio. Four of Cups, but this time in the reverse, and then the Three of Swords, this time in the upright. So, you're learning now perhaps what you're learning is that when you sabotage, or if you deceive yourself, you miss opportunities in life in which you could have applied more direct means to achieve something. While the Seven of Swords is always a card of strategy, it's about taking away things from people so that they don't have the ability to fight. Like they're taking away swords from the from the military encampment, so that way they no longer have to face that, that enemy. So it's about underhanded strategy, yes, which is a good thing in some cases. But when it's applied to yourself, you miss out on opportunities, which creates more of the heartbreak. So the Page of Swords in this is learning the difficult lessons. And oftentimes with the Page of Swords, they communicate something that can be harsh or that can be a painful message. And in your particular case, what's important for you to do is to try to understand where in the past the lessons that you've learned from maybe this kind of self-sabotage, or maybe from not being your true authentic self, has created that pain, and that you've missed opportunities on that. Normally, in the Four of Cups in the upright, the person chooses to reject, and it's that capability of doing so, which then is followed by the Five of Cups, which is disappointment. So there are still 3 cups in front of the 4 of Cups and the 5 of Cups. And those 3 of Cups represents the joy, the contentment, the happiness that you've had in the previous past. Whereas with the 4 of Cups, it's normally a person who has felt a bit bored or overwhelmed or jaded by that 3 of Cups. The 5 of Cups, they realize, okay, crap, I lost it. So they're kind of 2 sides of the same coin. You don't know what you got until it's gone. And I think that that's what this is trying to indicate right here with the 4 of Cups. You're looking at the lessons that you've learned in your life where you missed out on viable opportunities because you were too busy in this self-sabotage energy. And again, take it as it resonates. If this doesn't apply to you, it's someone else's message. But from what I get from the cards I'm reading here, is that now it's time to take those lessons and apply them empirically in your life, so that way you are able to become a more authentic self. It is that integration of the shadow self that you are now learning. Especially if it was a betrayal that you experienced in the past and you didn't want to, you didn't want to see it at first, or you wanted to ignore it. If, say, for example, a company betrayed you, they stole your ideas, they laid you off, they gave you constructive dismissal, which no one wants to deal with. Or if it was a relationship in which you were cheated on, abused verbally, sometimes physically, and what that does instead, you want to ignore it, but when the writing's on the wall, you have no choice but to heed that advice. And maybe that's what the universe is doing for you right now. You can no longer swim away from this. You have to swim right towards it. And then what we see here in the end of this, we have as a final outcome, we have the Hierophant and the Magician. These are both major arcana cards in the reverse. It is a warning. So I never tried to take bad outcomes as this is what's going to happen. What they can serve is a warning so that you can avoid what's going to happen. So we have 2 powerful cards here. We have the Hierophant and we have the Magician. These are 2 cards about learning the lessons and then applying them on a major scale. And for you, it's a very important thing that you learn those lessons from the past. So you have the Hierophant, which is the watchmaker. And the watchmaker is making all of these devices which tell the time, which govern and rule the kind of, the fantasy world of this steampunk terror. He's the one that is the complement to the High Priestess, or the Aviatrix in this deck. The Aviatrix receives the lessons from the divine. The horologer teaches those lessons of the divine to people through divine timing. And additionally, this opens up this lotus petal right here, which does not need to sustain itself in terra firma, but what it does is it sustains itself in the muddy waters of life. So if you have faced a lot of challenging, difficult, circumstances, that is oftentimes where we thrive the most, and that's what the lotus teaches us. And then we also have the technomancer here. The technomancer is the magician. And what it does is it allows us to take what we have, what we've learned, unpack our bag, and then materialize and manifest what it is that we need out of our life. So you can notice here, it says Deus Ex Machina on this card. And then it also says Deus Machina on the deck here. So it's a very important message. Deus Machina comes from the Latin phrase, God in the machine. And what it tells us is that at the very last moment, when it seems insurmountable, the challenges that we face, the universe God or gods in Greek theater and even in our everyday life, step in to intervene to allow things to come to a sense of balance. So this is what the Libra, the justice is all about. It's bringing balance and resolution so that the play doesn't become a tragedy, but overall becomes a, kind of like a happy ending, kind of like your Disney movie in the past. But sometimes life is like that. We have certain circumstances in our life where we're just struggling to understand how to resolve them. It could be financial. We could say, oh my God, rent's due next month. How am I going to pay this off? It could be a relationship. I'm still stuck with this person. How do I get out of this relationship? It could be a job. I'm in this dead-end job. My bosses are dicks and they are absolutely bludgeoning me with this workplace mobbing on a daily basis. I don't even want to go into the office. These are forms of self-sabotage because we teach ourselves that it's okay to remain in a place that is no longer serving us. Additionally, it doesn't even allow us to grow. And that's precisely what we think about with the lotus. We're not allowing ourselves to grow in the environments that we have placed ourselves because they are worse than muddy waters. They're barren soil. And I think that's the lesson that the Hierophant is trying to teach us here. Moreover, we're trying to learn that without applying those lessons, we will not be able to manifest that which we're trying to materialize in our life. We must firstly be cognizantly aware of what it is that we want to bring about, and then we need to bring it about by using the tools around us. With these two in the reverse, it's almost like when you feel that your power is taken away, the only thing that you can do is later rebel. The Hierophant in the reverse is also a card about revolting or rebelling against established orders. And so you may do this in the future. You may just say, you know what, I'm done, screw it. I'm just going to do exactly what I want to do. I have given my life to too many people, too many things, circumstances. And what I want to do now is just to back away and do my own thing. I'm tired of sabotaging myself by thinking I need to do this because it would make other people happy. I need to people please. That is a dangerous territory because what it doesn't show is that the person that you need to please the most is yourself. And a failure to look after yourself allows for people who don't have your interest at heart to take advantage of you, to do horrible things, to belittle you, and to create crises that are completely unnecessary. So you're being asked to avoid giving away your personal power. This Hierophant also indicates an established order, like a large institution or a group of people larger than you. So if you've been working for like a large institution, or even been in a marriage where you had this contract with someone, it could be you stepping out of that or actually working for yourself, maybe even trying to manifest the things that you want for yourself. Or if it's a relationship, breaking out of that marriage or that partnership, a long-term partnership, by disempowering it and then moving on. Your card that is for your advice is the Inventor, which is the Hermit. It's card number 9. That card rules Virgo. And for you, it's about 7 of Wands in the reverse. It's about no longer needing to fight for something and just taking your energy back to nourish and heal yourself. Because in number 9, the Virgo card is a card of health. I almost see in this deck that it's about mental health. It's about self-care, similar to what the Queen of Cups would do. But in this, it's on the material level. This guy, he gets his ingenuity, he has his pleasure in life because he's pretty happy in this. He's even got his little kitty cat here. But he seems to be happy and content because he's now pouring all of that energy that he's given to so many other people and so many other things and, circumstances. He's pouring that back into himself. And this in turn is allowing him to regain his footing in life. If you ever known someone who was a hermit, these people can be quite ingenious because what they do is they go inward, they explore themselves in, completely in full detail. And they're able to become intimate with themselves in a way where they learn on mind, body, and spirit as to what it is that they really want to accomplish and achieve. And you can see this accomplishment in the background because there's a big rocket ship in the distance. And then you have 2 statues here surrounding that rocket with wreaths, which is kind of a celebration. So it's like this person's achievement is the knowledge that he gains from going within. In the original Rider-Waite, the hermit goes inward, using the light of the star to navigate in this barren wasteland. And that gives them the ability to come out of the situation with the 10 card, which, if I'm not mistaken, number 10 is the Wheel of Fortune. Yeah. And that allows for things to start to take shape again. It allows for you to start to get back into the swing of things. So sometimes we need to take a step back from what we're pouring our energy into, and with that self-sabotage, feeling that you have to give to that all the time. Going into the hermit energy, you go into yourself. Because before the hermit, you have strength, which is card number 8. And then after the hermit, you have card number 10, which is the Wheel of Fortune. And then after that comes card number 11, which is justice. So it's like you have that strength period where you're holding back all the time and you're trying to be strong. You let go of that, you become the Inventor, which goes from Leo to Virgo. And then this allows you to take a break and go and do things that make you feel better and content. And then after that, you can then proceed into the Wheel of Fortune, which comes after that, which is where life starts to move again. So if you've been down, you get to come back up, and so on. And then this will then lead to card number 11, which is the homeostasis between the 2 of those. So I think that Pisces, for you, it's important that you do come back to best by realizing that the most important person in your life is going to be you. Without you, there is no life for you. And so the advice in this, since the Inventor or the hermit is the advice, is that you need to go in and you need to stop fighting for things that rob you of your joy. If it's a job, if it's a relationship, if it's a circumstance, if it's a place, you need to go inward and see exactly what it is that can create the best solution for you, what it is that you really want. Because too often when we have Piscean energy, which is the opposite of the hermit, which this card is asking you to be more like your polar opposite, more practical, more grounded in what you choose to give to, more discerning. Do that for yourself to balance out the wayward Piscean energy that I see permeating in this card or in this reading, and then go back to best for yourself. So that is what's going to happen for you for May. That's the advice that this deck clarifies for you. And additionally, try to see it not as a time where you have failed other people or failed certain circumstances, but look at it as a time in which you are now going to succeed with yourself and your personal life and the direction that you choose to take it. So thanks again. This has been Aluminum Tarot. Thanks so much for joining, my fellow Pisceans, my fishy friends. If you like this reading, please be sure to give a like, share, subscribe, ding the notification bell so that you don't miss any future updates. And yeah, if you like a reading, feel free to get to me at the information in the description box below, which has finally been updated and proofread with a bit more care and clarity. Thanks so much for joining. I hope you have a great rest of the weekend. And until then, bye now.